This is just spectacular. Thank you, Colorado. It is so good to be here. Thank you, Governor Owens. Thank you. Wow. It is so good to be here, and I do thank Governor Owens for that kind introduction. It's great to be here in beautiful Golden, Colorado. I'm so excited to be here and get to tell you why, of course, we're here, why I'm going to be asking for your help to send John McCain and me to Washington, D.C. to shake things up. Thank you. You know, before I really get into it, though, let me tell you something that's going on today in our world, particularly here in our nation that needs some shaking up and some fixing. First, I want to talk real quickly about the turmoil in our financial markets. This crisis is an issue of real concern, not only for those in our financial markets, but for the people across this great country. It's taking a toll on our economy, and that means people's life savings. And I'm glad to see that in this case, the Federal Reserve and the Treasury have said no to using taxpayer money to bail out another one, this time Lehman Brothers. Every effort has to be made now, of course, to ensure the accounts and deposits of hardworking Americans, that those investments are protected. This crisis happened for several reasons, which have to be addressed right now. Guys and gals, our regulatory system is outdated, and it needs a complete overhaul. Washington has ignored this. Washington has been asleep at the switch and ineffective, and management on Wall Street has not run these institutions responsibly and has put companies and markets at risk. They've placed their own interests first instead of their employees and the shareholders who actually own these companies. So John McCain and I, we're going to put an end to the mismanagement and abuses in Washington and on Wall Street that have resulted in this financial crisis. Wall Street does business and stop multi-million-dollar payouts and golden parachutes to CEOs who break the public trust. It's so important that the United States, we've got to remain the strongest financial market in the world. It must be the market that the American people and investors everywhere can trust. So restoring the integrity and the confidence and the leadership in our markets and in our government is essential. This is going to be one of the highest priorities of our administration. This is all going to be about reform and putting the government back on the side of the people, putting it back on the side of the good people here in Colorado, and that's why I'm here today. To be here with you in Jefferson County, which is the beautiful gateway to the Rocky Mountains. It's gorgeous here. Kind of selfish here also. It's great to be in the state that Denver Bronco Chris Cooper and the Avalanche's Scott Parker now call home. Both Chris and Scott are from Alaska, and they've got a lot of fans up there. And, you know, Scott was part of the Avalanche team that brought home the Stanley Cup. Another son of Alaska, Mark Schlereth, he helped the Broncos win the Super Bowl in '98 and '99. See, we got that connection, and Alaskans, we like winning. And with Colorado's help, we're going to keep that streak going. It's why we're here. With your help, we're going to elect John McCain, the next president of the United States of America. Truly, Colorado, I appreciate being here. I feel like I am home. I think, as Governor Owens said, we've got a lot in common, these western states. You know, we hold together and we pull together. Somebody from one of those western states up there in Alaska, I want to introduce to you my husband, Todd Palin, Alaska's first dude. Alaska's first dude is a commercial fisherman, and he's a blue-collar production operator up in the oil fields of Alaska's North Slope. Todd's the four-time winner of the Iron Dog race. Yeah. That's the world's longest and toughest snow machine race. Todd's also a proud member of the United Steelworkers Union, and he's a great dad. In the next 50 days, Colorado, it's going to be a hard-fought contest here, especially in Colorado. But John McCain and I, we are ready, and with your help, we are going to win. And I thank you in advance for that, Colorado. We're taking our case for reform to voters of every background, in every party, or no party at all. And with your vote, we're going to Washington to shake things up. Here's how I'm looking at the choices that we have in this election. In politics, there are some candidates who use change to promote their careers. And then there are those leaders, like John McCain, who use careers to promote change. Colorado, you know that this is a time when principles and political independence matter a lot more than just a party line. And Americans are tired of politics as usual. That's why we need to take the maverick of the Senate and put him in the White House. Now, Senator McCain calls the two of us a team of mavericks because he knows we've done some shaking up there in Alaska. As mayor, I took on the old politics as usual in my town, and we got back to the basics, and we did put government back on the side of the people. And then as governor, I brought the same agenda of positive change to the state capital. The old oil monopoly that had controlled our state, we broke it. And the good old boy network of lobbyists and special interests that used to run things up there, well, whatever they're running now, I know it's not the state of Alaska. Nearly $500 million in excessive spending in our state budget. That's what vetoes are for. And the major ethics reform that I had promised to usher in to end the culture of closed doors and self-dealing. Today, that's the law of the land in the state of Alaska. Also, things like, you probably heard, the luxury jet that came with the office, I put it on eBay. And that infamous bridge to nowhere, I did tell Congress, thanks, but no thanks. If we wanted a bridge up there, we were going to build it ourselves. Today, our state has a surplus, and I'm returning a chunk of that surplus money back to the people of Alaska because they can spend it better than government can spend it for them. Up north, we're trusting the people with their money. And in these tough times across our nation, John McCain and I are ready to do the same for all of you. We're going to bring tax relief to all Americans. And our economy will grow, and we will get government out of the way of private sector progress. Our opponent wants to raise income taxes, and raise payroll taxes, and raise investment income taxes, and raise business taxes, and raise the death tax. But John McCain and I know that's not the way you grow an economy. That's not how you bring new opportunities to Colorado. My family has faced the same challenges that many of you have, and many across America today. My husband Todd and I, we have a commercial fishing operation. My sister, she just opened a service station. Todd's folks, they own a hardware store. We've all built small businesses and worked hard to earn a living. We know the struggles out there. That's right. businesses, the mom and pops that are the cornerstone of America. You're right. John McCain and I are going to support the working Americans that make up the backbone of our economy, and we're going to lower taxes, and we're going to create new jobs. We're going to bring new green-collar jobs here to Colorado. Every small business will have a friend in the White House. We got to have this because we've got to bring our economy back, putting it back on track, and that's going to be due to the hard work and the cooperation of government with the hard work of our small businessmen and women across this great country. You know, we hear a lot about experience in this presidential race, and I have to remind Americans, I know you already know it, but it's not just about years of experience, it's about example also. And I want to give you a couple of examples of what I was able to do to kind of let you know my worldview of government's proper role in our lives and in our businesses. As mayor and as governor, I always knew that I was accountable to the people of Alaska. I knew who it was that I was working for. I knew that as I lowered taxes and got rid of business inventory taxes, and then on a state level suspended our fuel tax, those things do add to a more vibrant economy, and we have some wonderful economic indicators of success in my hometown. We became part of the fastest growing area of the state because businesses wanted to be there. They knew that government would be on their side. They also knew that they would have elected leaders knowing government isn't always the answer. In fact, too often, government is the problem. I promise you, in a McCain-Palin administration, we will never forget that first and foremost, we're going to be in D.C. working for you, not the special interests, not obsessive partisanship. We'll be there working for you, Colorado, the small businesses, the families that have built up this state, that are building up this country. We will never forget that. And I know that I have a lot to look forward to if we are so blessed and privileged to be able to serve you and be sworn in January. I know I'll have some new responsibilities as Vice President. And while we can't predict all of the issues that will call upon our talents and our time, John and I have worked out a plan, what I want to concentrate on and what he would like to kind of tap into me to help with. My mission is going to be energy security and government reform. And another thing, near and dear to my heart, is going to be helping families who have special needs and children with special needs. And we're going to be pushing for innovative cures for diseases. First, energy security. As governor, I've worked to increase domestic energy supplies. My job has been to oversee nearly 20% of the U.S. domestic supply of oil and gas. And as your Vice President, I will help John McCain implement his all of the above strategy for energy independence for the United States of America. See, a Western state gets it. A little bit different than some of the other places that maybe we'll be traveling in the future, but you guys get it. What we'll do is expand also our use of alternative fuels, and we are going to drill now to make this nation energy independent. We need to develop more of our own energy, and in Colorado, you're showing the way. Right here in Jefferson County is the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, one of the only national laboratories dedicated to the research and development of energy and energy efficiency technology. And that laboratory is working to harness the power of solar and wind and geothermal and hydrogen, and making our nation one step closer towards that energy independence that we need to secure this great land. This is vital research, and you're going to see a lot more of that in the McCain-Palin administration. It is a matter of national security, and for our future prosperity, we need American energy resources brought to you by American ingenuity and produced by American workers. We need all of you. And then second, on reforming government, I cannot wait to help President McCain shake things up in Washington. It's no secret that I'm not part of that Washington elite. You probably got a little hint of that reading stories in the press lately. I'm just not a part of that. We're going to make government more open, though, and more accountable and more attractive to those who want to serve. All in the name of putting government back on the side of the people where it belongs. We're going to recruit the best people to run our agencies, regardless of party affiliation and regardless of whether they have that Washington experience. We're going to surround ourselves with the best who have the best interest of the American people at heart. And I've got another idea that I'm sharing with John McCain that's working quite well up in the state of Alaska. In Alaska, we took the state checkbook and we put it online so that everyone can see where their money goes. That's another example. It's what we can do to bring that kind of openness to Washington that has been sorely lacking. We're going to do it for you. Now, third, also, I've told Senator McCain a few things that I've learned as governor and as a mom. Ever since I took the chief executive's job up north, I pushed for more funding for students with special needs. It's touched my heart for years, especially about 13 years ago with the beautiful addition to our extended family of a nephew with autism. And now my family and I, we have added special perspective with the birth of our beautiful baby boy Trig just 4 months ago. Along with Trig came such an understanding as we can join so many American families that know that some of life's greatest joys sometimes come with some unique challenges. We're going to make sure that government is on their side too. And part of that effort, it's going to involve making sure that our most dreadful diseases have our most effective efforts. Too often, government gets in the way when innovators take on cancer or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's to find a cure. To help Americans overcome these terrible diseases, our administration will lead efforts to find new treatments and new cures. That's going to be a commitment in our administration. What we'll do is strengthen the National Institute for Health, also making sure that we're getting closer and closer and finally realizing these cures to some of these diseases. I'll tell you, folks, joining the ticket with John McCain is a great privilege. Understanding what it is that we're going to be able to do to accomplish things for you, for America. It's going to be a whole shift in the way that Washington does business, though. It's all about reform. To serve beside John McCain as Vice President of the United States will be the highest, but at the same time the most humbling of honors. You know, our opponents, they've been going on, and they've been going on a lot lately, about how they always, quote, fight for you. But since my running mate, he won't say this on his own, and he's not standing next to me, so I'm going to brag him up a little bit right now. There is only one man in this election who has ever really fought for you. John McCain is an amazing individual, and he's a guy who's been through a few tough fights before. He's made some sacrifices for this country, He's serving for the right reasons today, and he wants to serve you as president for the right reasons. John McCain wore the uniform of this great country for 22 years, and talk about tough and sacrificial. 5.5 years as a POW for our country. There are many veterans here today who have also served and honored us, and I want you to raise your hands. Veterans and military folks, raise your hands so that we can acknowledge you and thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for honoring them. We owe them. They are good men and women who have served their country in uniform. We owe them. Thank you. Remember, it was at a very decisive moment in the course of the War on Terror when John McCain fought for the strategy that has brought victory in Iraq within sight. And as the mother of one of those troops recently deployed to Iraq, that's exactly the kind of man we need and I want as Commander-in-Chief. John McCain knows how to win a war. There is only one man in this race ready to serve as our 44th president. He's my running mate and my friend, Senator John McCain. I want to ask you, Colorado, to join us in this effort. On November 4th, let's elect John McCain the next president of the United States of America. And I thank you, and God bless you, Colorado. God bless America. Thank you.
Travel on, there's one day here and the next day gone.